I think that God can do anything. He sent manna for Israelite. But I think more often God allows us to go through hardship and real living. The same way with people that is outside the church building, that is not as fortunate, that doesn't have enough capital to do their dreams, but they work hard. They are persistent. They are consistent, and they are thrift, they don't spend money, they cook in the house. Very often we always think that we don't have enough. But really, if you look at our phone bills, you look at the things that we do in the internet and things like that, there are expenses that truly we don't need to spend. So if we have that type of attitude, we do it, then you can finance your own business. But I think for every cases, it might have a little bit of a difference. Yeah.
One of my previous job I was working as was in VC as well, venture capital, private equity. So I do screen through quite a lot of business plans, and also I deal with a lot of young people. And true enough, there are some people that we do meet that they just ask for money, and there are people, also a group of people whom we see are just fantastic, because some of the things that, say for example, that you have a great idea and you want to raise capital. One of the things, correct me if I'm wrong, is that we try to not just look at your situation, but look at what you have done with what you have.
That's right.
To gain a leverage, to gain the resources that you need. Like, what have you been trying to do to save the money? What have you done to the extent of your marketing ability to market your product? And we find that people who are the most initiative, who done it what they can, are the people that you want to invest. And when you say that we don't invest on the business plan, it's in the people, right, in the character, they have drive or determination or not. Wow. This next question that we have here is that, what if I'm a businessman and I will apply a profit margin into my product and my services, where do I draw the line? What is fair and what is not fair as a Christian, the type of margin we're looking at?
This is like the same question, man. How many of you guys want to make money? How many of you guys want to make money, a lot of it? Nobody? Man, you guys are so holy. Look, I think to understand that, you got to understand, value is abstract. Price is real, right? So what is the value of me sitting here and speaking to you? For each one of you is different. If you're going to put a price tag on it, some of you are going to put, I heard it before, small things, 50 cents. I hope not. But for some of you, you just like, this is amazing. I want to know this guy. Then you put a high price tag on it. So value is abstract. Value is not something that basically is, if everybody is selling at $2, we have to sell at $2. If that is the truth, then we cannot explain a lot of things in the world. Some people put Mercedes-Benz on a high price tag, right? And then you got, I don't want to name any other companies, but some other companies that have a lower price tag. But it is about the value that people created. So I think that it's okay. It's okay to have a higher profit margin, a slower profit margin. There is no a Christian way of making a margin. I think that there is a integrity issue when you say that I'm going to charge you $1 million. There is an integrity issue about the value that you will deliver to your customers, right? So that I think is more important. What is the value that you are doing? So we are building an academy right now. We are selling it. I say that, look, for the first year, we're going to sell it at 3 juta rupiah, which is about 900 ringgit, right? About 900 ringgit per person. So but what I tell my team though, the program has to be valued not at 3 juta rupiah, but at 7 juta rupiah. So we over-deliver. So you pay me 3 juta, but we give you 7 juta value, right? So we deliver over, and then allow people to understand that this is like over, the value is much bigger. But then at the 3 million though, we are still making a good profit margin. You can see the difference? Yeah? Okay.
I think in digging more a bit into that, we actually have a very specific context for that question, because this I think is a student. He or she is actually involved in selling clothes and the tires to students. But one of the things that he or she faces is that the parents actually is making a complaint that he or she is not charging enough margin. But yet she is having that conflict because she feels that she doesn't believe in charging higher because she feels that it's wrong, and it's also to a group which is students who cannot afford that as much. Now, any advice you can give to he or she that how to go about it, especially when it involves a family member?
Well, it really depends. Are your parents the stakeholder of the company or not? Hey, look. Again, as I said before, value is abstract. When we first start our business, Julia's Lariat is sold at $8, and we have a 20% margin. That's our first product. When Heartbeat New York is quite a well-known company in New York, the same Lariat is sold for $48. And the margin I don't need to explain to you, right? And so, but then if we only look at the value from the perspective of the margin that I'm making, then perhaps it is the same with looking at an elephant. You touch the trunk and you say that this is elephant because it has a trunk. But elephant has other components, right? It got the big feet, a big body, and so on and so on. So the customers that we reach out to at $48, these are customers that have high disposable income. They come to our another brand, David, Julia and Company, and this company is selling a necklace for $4,000. And people still buy for it. So when they buy a $48 necklace, for them this is actually undervalued. Our customers actually are the people that tell us that you need to check up your price. This is too cheap, right? So I think that a good rule of thumb, again, is that the value that you deliver to your customer, what is that value? So let's say you sell a clothes, and right now your price tag is 20 ringgit, right? But what is actually the value of your clothes? Is the value actually 18? If it's 18, man, you're overpriced. If the value you're delivering to your customer is at 50 ringgit, and you're selling at 20 ringgit, that's great. Now, whether you want to sell it at 30 or 31 or at 49 or 50 or 52, that is all your call. And I don't think there is a Bible verse that I can pick for you and tell you that, okay, the Christian way of making a profit is 50%. I can't do that. I cannot do that. But I think that I can defend the case and say that, what is your integrity? Is the value of your services or your products are actually above the price that you are selling, right? That I think is very important, and then whatever margin that you want to make, again, if your parents are the stakeholder, then you need to listen to them, all right? Yeah, good.
Okay, this one, I think I think it will apply to a lot of business people, is that we go through ups and downs in businesses. How do you know, and you go through a streak, sometimes you see losses, reds for a few months. How do you know, I think this is a jackpot question, how do you know when to decide that this business is not for me right now, and I should just shut the door and maybe move on? How do you know? How do you go about it?
So you mean we're already in business,
Yep.
and the business is losing money?
Yeah.
And then
they've been continuing and it's been on the red. But because there's always thoughts, should you give up or should you hold on for longer? How do you go about deciding when it's time to close the shop?
Okay. So there is a couple way to answer these questions. Number one, what is your capacity, right? So let me answer you by using financial terms, right? If you look at the profit and loss of a company, then on the top line is your revenue. And revenue obviously is how many pieces can you sell at what price, right? Price times quantity. That's okay so far, right? So now you have that number, then you minus it with the direct cost of your business. So let's say if I sell a glass of water, and this glass of water is going to cost 10 ringgits, right? And the cost of this glass of water, say, is 5 ringgit. Means I have a gross profit margin of 5 ringgit. So I have a 50% gross profit margin. Is that okay? Is that okay? Good. So my question for you is, if the glass of water actually only cost me 20% instead of 50%, what is actually the significance of that 80% gross profit margin and 50% gross profit margin? Can somebody explain that to me? Why is it so significant to understand gross profit margin? I suppose it's a Q&A, so I have to answer my own question, yeah? So if you have a glass of water and I sell it for 10 ringgit and I have a 50% gross profit margin, and the waitress is bringing this glass of water coming from the kitchen towards me, and somewhere along the lines she slipped and this water fall to the ground, my question is that how many more glasses can she drop before the company start losing money? How many? 1, right? Because it's 50%. It cost me 5. So if I drop it 2 times, now I have already dropped it at the cost of the selling price, right? But then if the gross margin is 80%, it means that the cost is only 2 ringgit. And so I can drop it how many times? 5 times. You are all so smart, right? So that is the significance of the business. I think like if you think about like when you say my business is on the red, I want to know, first of all, what is the gross profit margin? If you are red on the gross profit margin, in other words, you sell it at 10 ringgit and your gross profit margin is like -5, then you should stop doing that business, generally speaking. Generally speaking, okay? But then if you say that this is 10 and then cost is 2, gross profit margin is 8, but your operational expense is 12, and that's the reason why you are -4, I say that, well, you have too much staff. Do you really need that many staffs? Maybe we need to think about efficiency, right? So this is not a question that I can give like 1, 2, 3, this is what you gotta do. You need to examine what your P&L looks like. And if by doing that, then you understand that, what is the problems that you are facing. Now, maybe I'm gonna go a bit deeper to explain this. If you have a business like that, right, you need to first of all define what is the problem in your business. Okay? Now, how do you define a problem? I shared this during the lunch. I said that problems is defined as anything that is not according to my liking. That is a problem. I like red, you're not wearing red. What's wrong with you? That is a problem. Right? I like Coke, you give me water. What is wrong with you all? Anything is a problem so long as it is not according to my liking. Right? So whose problem should you be concerned about? In business, it's very simple. Number 1, you should be concerned what is the problem of your customers. Right? So if you are worried about the problems of your customers, then you work on the P&L, then suddenly you will find that it is quite easy to fix the problem. Sometimes as businessmen, especially if you're in the retail, when you're carrying 12,000 SKU or a lot of products items, you believe when you do the merchandising, you look at the products and you say like, good product, I believe we can sell it. And you just keep on buy. You never worry about whether the customers actually really think that is valuable or not. So that's the first problem you need to solve. Then the second problem that you need to solve is that in the internal side of your business, right? Maybe you don't have a system. It's the reason why you need 8 people to run one operation. If you have a good system, maybe you need only 2 person. The -6 immediately have a healthier OPEX, operational expense, and then your EBITDA become healthier. Is that okay? You guys are following what I talk about? Yeah, so to answer that, I will not be quickly to say like, okay, stop the business. You need to understand, first of all, what is happening in your company. Now, and I think this is, it's okay? So some of you guys are in the IT business, right? And so the trend of our economy, right, these days in the IT, in all these technology companies, is the economy of spending, right? If I give you $10, will you be my customer, right? So you just keep on spend. And maybe some of you are the people that actually take those free offers, discount up to 90%, right? But actually, this glass of water, the real cost is 2 ringgit, but I'm giving it to you for free. It means that the company is taking at cost 2 ringgit. Now, the difference between when we do business, 1980s, 1990s, and today in the 2000 and 2010s, is that we used to, my dad used to sell Toyota, right? So if you sell a Toyota for 10 rupiah, to 10 ringgit, right? And you have, say, a 20% margin, right? So now you have 2 ringgits of margin. to compete with your other dealers, how would you do that? You cannot reduce the price because there's an MSRP, right? You cannot sell it at 9 or 9.9. You can't. You have to sell it at 10. But we all know, we are both dealers. We know that we both are selling, our margin is only 2 ringgit. How do you sell? If you are the marketing director, what are you going to do? I give you free spoiler, right? I say like, we give you the upgrade. You can have the sunroof. And so on and so on and so on. Which means that 2 ringgit is discounted to, say, 1 ringgit. And so I have only 10% margin, but now I'm selling 1,000 units. And my competitor is only selling 5 units. Does it make sense? Now, if you want to do the IT business, that is not the way they do the business these days. And this is very dangerous in my opinion. And we are very careful investing in this type of companies. So it's okay to spend money, but the right way to do it, instead of revenue, you have to say, what is the lifetime value of your customers? If I give you, hey David, if I give you a glass of this water for free, then what will be the probability that David will return coming back here and then buy 5 more cups of water? Now that is called LTV, lifetime value of your customer. And then you got minus it to your CAC, your customer acquisition cost, right? So you still have to have that LTV minus CAC and get a healthy gross profit margin. Now the difference between us doing business, us like including myself, more in the 1990s, early 2000s when we do business, and how young people are doing business these days, if you are in IT business especially, you got to understand this very carefully. Because by the end of the day, it's still arithmetic. It's a math problem, and you have to be able to solve it. If it's just spend, and your lifetime value, let's say, is only 50 ringgit, but your CAC is actually 70 ringgit, you're going to bust. So understand that, right? Understand that. All right? So I hope it's a long answer to answer that one, but I hope it's useful. Yeah?
Yep, okay. I know our time is up, but I feel that it's just one more question. Are you guys okay still? Okay, one more question here, okay, before we wrap this up. Okay, a lot of business people, when they start off or they are planning to start, they need people. And one of the key decisions they have to make is actually the decision to choose who to partner with. What are some of the criteria, and for your personal self, do you go about assessing whether this partner is the right partner that I should work with?
So again, this question is have a little, something that you need to depend on, right? If you are doing a business, it's a small business. Let's just make a case study. If this business is just a retail company, you need, say, 1,000 ringgit to get started. My answer is that you don't need a partner. Go do it yourself, right? Partnership is tricky. Even if you are the same faith, you come from the same family, actually that's more dangerous, right? So if you are doing a business like that, my advice is that go do it yourself. Go do it yourself. When you are successful, then bring somebody and bless that guy, partner with you, because you can build something together. Now, some businesses, you actually need a partner. So now if you need a partner, few things are very important. I think that depending on your industry, but generally speaking, you have to understand who is doing what. Okay, so you need to divide it into 2 groups. Number 1 is the stakeholdership of the company, and the second one is who is in operations. And they don't always have to be the same people, right? And so in the stakeholdership, if you need to raise, let's say, 1,000 ringgit, and you're gonna put, I have 200 ringgit only, and you have 800 ringgit, so you own 80%, I own 20%. That's called stakeholdership. Okay, but then in the running of the operations, you say that, well, I give you the money, David, but I don't want to be involved in operations. Also, that's great. So how much stock options would you open up for people who is running it? And let's say we agree at 20%. So from my 20%, now I become 24%. Does it make sense to you guys? Right? So you got to separate it properly. And all other things is all the usual answers. You should have the same vision about the company, obviously. If you can find somebody that have the same faith with you, your mission is in alignment, all those things are great. But I think a lot of people, especially in church, I have seen a lot of partnerships that is not based on proper management, right? Your expectation is not managed properly. You know, for example, if I ask people like, when do you think this company is going to have a break-even point? Oh, well, we don't know, but we already put 1,000 ringgit. We're just going to have faith in it. You know, it doesn't work that way. You got to have a proper business plan, right? If you're going to partner with, especially if you are going to partner with your friends, with a church friends, with your family member, it is so important. And I cannot stress this one out. You have to have a contract. Put it in the writing. What do you agree with together? If something go south, are you willing to lose your 800 ringgit? Or are you going to go to the pastor and say like, David, make me lose 800 ringgit. But then if you go out there and you work with somebody else and the business go kaput, what happened? Nothing happened. It's called a partnership. Right? And so it is very important. I have seen this too often and I felt like it's a very good question. I think that it's very important to put it in the writings. You have to write it. You know, if I work with somebody that I don't know, a handshake will do. But if I work with people that I know really well, we go through 70 pages of contracts. We talk about everything and everything. The closer you are to somebody is the more paperwork you need to get it done. And if that relationship can endure that paperwork, I can almost say that it's 90% good partnership. All right? Okay.
Wow, I think that's a really very valuable lesson to all business people. I know because a lot of people, I know that want to partner up for businesses and stuff. So I hope you capture this. You know to do not just what you feel, but to do the right thing. And make sure they get your black and white. Cool. You guys enjoy yourself so far? That's all the time we have here. So let's just give David one more clap here. Thank you.